The Alexander brothers, Alon, Oren, Tal, they're all on trial right now in New York federal court. The wealthy trio that are in the real estate and security industries are accused of rape and sexual assault going back decades, allegedly luring women into their webs with the promise of fancy parties and luxury vacations, only for those dream dates to turn into nightmares. We got our hands on some of the evidence that prosecutors are using to try to convict the brothers of sex trafficking, including text messages from an alleged victim, plus how the brothers reacted when police slapped on the cuffs. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. By the way, I gotta ask, if you're into content creation, if you're putting things out on social media, have you ever wondered how we're able to share so many of these clips on these stories so quickly? We use something called Opus Clip, okay? This is an all-in-one AI editor that makes it so easy to cut, create, and upload videos across any platform. Through AI, Opus Clip generates B-roll, it reframes footage, and it even cleans up audio. It is so easy. You just visit opus.pro/sidebar, you sign up, you upload, and in minutes you have perfectly edited clips ready to go for TikTok, Shorts, Reels. Opus Clip is your one-stop shop, and having a tool like Opus Clip means that our producers can get you viral courtroom updates instantly. This is the most powerful tool there is to share ideas and edit like a pro. So go to opus.pro/sidebar to get a free week and then 50% off. When the Southern District of New York prosecutors announced charges against the Alexander brothers in December of 2024, the accusations were staggering. Twins Oren, Alon, their older brother Tal, all in their late 30s now, have allegedly been partners in crime since they were in high school more than 20 years ago. And I want to be clear about something before we go further. They are innocent until proven guilty. And even though we're going to go through this evidence, and you may say this is quite damning evidence, I have to make it clear. They have not been convicted at the time of this recording. They're innocent until proven guilty. However, since that time, prosecutors have alleged that they used force, fraud, and coercion to traffic and assault dozens, possibly hundreds of women and girls. That's right. Some of their federal charges are even related to the sexual abuse of a minor. These brothers seem to split their time between New York City and Miami, with Oren and Tal choosing multi-million-dollar real estate deals in both locations. Alon didn't work in real estate. Instead, he was reportedly part of management at their family's security firm. But the New York Times reports that their famous clients included Kim Kardashian, her then-husband Kanye West, as well as Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump. But it's not just federal charges they're dealing with, because after this trial is over, Oren and Alon face sexual battery charges out in Florida, and all the brothers have been named in at least 24 civil lawsuits. This is according to the Times. Now, investigators say the Alexander brothers used their wealth and their influence, not just as alleged enticement, but also as a tool to bully alleged victims into staying quiet. Federal prosecutors filed several superseding indictments as they reportedly uncovered more information about the Alexander brothers' alleged crimes, including one just days before the trial was set to begin. So in all, the brothers face 12 counts here: conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, 5 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, sexual abuse by physical incapacitation, aggravated sexual abuse by force or threat or intoxicant, and 2 counts of inducement to travel to engage in unlawful sexual activity. According to the indictment, quote, for well over a decade and at all times relevant to this indictment, Alon Alexander, Oren Alexander, and Tal Alexander, the defendants, worked together and with others known and unknown to repeatedly and violently drug, sexually assault, and rape dozens of victims. At times, the Alexander brothers arranged for these sexual assaults well in advance, using the promise of luxury experiences, travel, and accommodations to lure and entice women to locations where they were then forcibly raped or sexually assaulted, sometimes by multiple men, including one or more of the Alexander brothers. Other times, the Alexander brothers encountered and chose their victims by chance. Often, the Alexander brothers drugged their victims before assaulting them, preventing them from fighting back or escaping. Now, these brothers, Tal, Oren, and Alon, have all pleaded not guilty. They have denied all of the allegations against them. Now, as the prosecution expects to wrap up its case and then pass the baton over to the defense, we're going to take a closer look at what happened when the twins were arrested, as well as some of the evidence and the testimony that was presented so far. There are no cameras in federal court, so we're going to do our best to kind of illustrate what's been happening. So the twins, Alon and Oren, were taken into custody in Miami around 6 in the morning on December 12, 2024, and they've been locked up ever since. Take a look.
And done?
Eh?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. I won't be able to get out of here. It's smaller right here. If you want to stop, si quieren, macho, pero no, put them in here, loco. I won't be able to fly against them.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
You got it?
I got it. ID and phone.
Yeah, the brothers appear to have exercised their right to remain silent during their arrest, though they did have some questions for detectives as they cooled their heels in separate interrogation rooms.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to mess up your name. Is it Alon or Alon? Alon. Alon.
It's black. It has no sugar in
Or,
it.
I know you saw me earlier. My name is Detective Alvarez, and this is Detective Smith.
That's where my family is.
Your family, like your wife or your children, they're back at the in front of your residence with FBI. Yeah, they're still there. As far as I know that they were placed in an SUV with members of their team, so I know that they're back there when we left, obviously. I just got a couple of questions. It's very simple. Obviously, I mean, there's no really need, we don't need to cut around too much. Obviously, the FBI, I'm not part of the FBI either. We work for Miami Beach, okay, with detectives here in Miami Beach. Obviously, the FBI executed a warrant in your residence today, here for whatever case they're investigating. We have a case that we're investigating from our jurisdiction. It dates back an incident that named you as an apparent subject back in 2016. Yeah, sometime in December 31st of 2016. Okay. We would obviously love to talk to you if you wanted to talk to us. If that's something that you want to do or not, I mean, it's up to you.
I guess I need to talk to my lawyer, have a lawyer ready for the civil cases.
Okay. So I kind of figured that was going to be your answer.
Yeah.
I do understand that you guys are, you and your family members or what have you, maybe facing some sort of civil issues or what have you. So obviously you say that you do have a lawyer and you do want a representation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not even going to read you your rights or anything like that, because at the end of the day, we're not even going to get to question or anything, and at the end of the day, we need to be recorded, okay? Do you have any questions for me that I could answer for you? As far as I can answer,
yeah.
obviously.
You can tell me what anything's about it. I'd like to know what's going on.
Well, obviously, just so you do know, what I will tell you is that I cannot give you any details, because obviously you chose to not speak to us, obviously, which is your right, of course. But on today's date, from our jurisdiction at least, you will be arrested, okay? You're going to be charged with a sexual battery. And there's an arrest warrant that was placed into the system on yesterday's date, okay? Today's Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, so it was placed in the system yesterday.
For which incident?
December 31st, 2016. I can't give you any more details because we don't want to talk to us, so I can't give you any more details on that, okay? It's an allegation made by a young lady, incident that took place around that time or on that day. And we sought arrest warrants for you and your brother for that specific case, and they were granted by the judge.
For an incident that occurred here?
Yeah, our jurisdiction, correct. Okay. Coming up on 8 years. Yeah, December 31st, 2024 will make 8 years.
Can't share any more information about
At the moment that you ask for legal counsel, I cannot go any more into details on our investigation. If you wanted to talk to us, then certainly I can share more things with you, and we could go into that conversation. That's something that's strictly up to you, obviously. Okay.
when you want to call my lawyer.
We're gonna go ahead and put your arrest affidavit together. You're gonna be transported. So as soon as you get transported out of here, you can make the phone call. Thank you, sir.
Now, it's a little hard to hear, but Alon seems to ask what specific incident he's being charged for, and the officers tell him that it's connected to something that happened on New Year's Eve in 2016, but he can't say any more since Alon has invoked his right to counsel. They have to stop talking to him. And as he waited in the interview room for more than 2 hours, there were several times when it appears that Alon kind of fell asleep in his chair before stretching and getting up to walk around the room, at one point even looking directly into the camera that's monitoring him.
Can I use the bathroom? Bathroom?
His twin Oren was being held nearby too.
Lean forward. Put this hand on your head. Lean forward a little more. Close the keys on this side. There you go. Have a seat. Need anything? Have some water?
Oren also appeared to get in a bit of a nap before a detective team comes to speak with him as well. And he's concerned for himself, but he also has questions about his wife.
Oren?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Hi, my partner Alon. Do you want water or coffee or anything? Maybe
Some
coffee.
hot water?
Hot water?
Yeah.
Water? I'll get that to my camera. Okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back. Obviously, as you're aware, the FBI is conducting their own investigation at your residence. I don't have anything to do with that. I'm actually here to speak to you about allegations that were made against you some time ago. So if that's something that you want to speak to me about, we can obviously move forward.
So you're not involved with the FBI? You're not?
No.
So the FBI?
I can't speak on what they have because I don't work with the FBI. I'm with Miami Beach Police Department, so that is completely separate. I am investigating something that happened in our jurisdiction, and by our I mean Miami Beach.
When?
It was going to be some time ago, an incident that took place in 2017.
Where?
Well, I have to first see if you want to get into it with me. I would have to read you, your rights, so we can get into details. But again, it's your prerogative.
I'm not going to speak without
You
my
don't?
attorney.
Okay, I completely understand that. Do you have any questions for me? Obviously not related to the case because you said that you want legal counsel, so.
Yeah. Where's my wife?
I believe, again, since
Yeah.
I believe she remained at the residence. I know she's very much pregnant,
Okay.
so I from what I saw, they are completely treating her, as a friend, very pregnant woman. And my understanding is she and her mother-in-law, I'm assuming that's who that was, I'm not entirely sure. But I did see them, I saw them there and they were fine.
Okay.
Okay? So I just want to confirm that you do not wish to speak to me without an attorney.
Correct.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. I will be removing my camera. Here's your hot water. If you need anything, just give a knock, okay?
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
we're gonna speak to the FBI?
I don't know. Not from my understanding, no. I don't know how that's gonna develop. Again, I don't.
Do we know why I'm being arrested?
No, I can't speak to you about anything. Since you don't want to talk to me, I can't talk to you about this.
I know, I'm just asking why I'm being arrested.
We can't really discuss. Like, so if you wanted to speak to me, then I'd have to read the Miranda, and then we could go into detail. But since we're not doing that, I can't really do that. Okay?
But am I being arrested by Miami Beach
Yes.
Police Department?
Mhm.
So I'm not being arrested by FBI?
Like I said, FBI has an entirely different thing that I am uninvolved in. So I cannot speak. I do not know. I am 100% not involved in the FBI's investigation because I'm not FBI.
Okay.
I'm just Miami Beach. Okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Yeah, Oren's wife's pregnancy came up again at a bond hearing.
This.
Your Honor, my wife is 9 months pregnant, due any day now with our first child. Her family's in Brazil. She's counting on me to be with her during labor.
And because it's considered a dangerous crime, I'm required to hold you with no bond.
There's also a federal hold judge.
He does, Your Honor. He has a whole.
Bond was denied, by the way. Now, at one point, one of the detectives came back to the interview room to ask Oren about his attorney.
Hey, do you know your attorney's name off the top of your head? Or any of his information off the top of your head?
I'm not sure which attorney I'm going to be working with.
Okay.
We have an attorney in New York. Isabel Kirshner.
Is the one? Can you spell it?
Isabel Kirshner.
Isabel Kirshner.
Correct.
K.
IRSRCS or CH.
Like SCH maybe.
Could be. Maybe.
Isabel Kirshner, and she's out of New York.
Correct.
Do you have another one that you might think of?
I'm not sure which one we're working with locally.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I answer a question?
Sure.
Am I under arrest?
Yes.
And for what?
Well, remember, you didn't want to talk to me, so I can't talk to you.
You can't tell me what I'm under arrest for?
we wanted to sit down and discuss the cases, yes, but you told me you didn't want to speak to me about legal counsel, and I respect that, so.
I mean, I'm happy for you to tell me why I'm being what I'm being arrested for.
Again, I would go into details, but since you don't want to speak to me about legal counsel, I'm not gonna get into it with you, okay?
And I would say in an eerie similarity to his twin, Oren also gets up to walk around the room and request a bathroom break.
Yes,
Hi, can I use the bathroom?
yeah, give me 1 second, I'll get somebody to help you.
Thank you.
So after hours alone in those separate interview rooms, Alon and Oren are taken to the jail.
Hey, you're gonna get transported.
Wait, sir. Let's put your hands behind your back for me, please. We'll make this as comfortable as possible, all right? Stay with me. Hold on. See? Keep your thumbs up and your palms outwards, like that, yeah. So that is comfortable, all right? That's it.
So it was determined that the federal charges, that federal case would go first, that would have priority, and the men were taken to New York to face trial there. The state cases, right, where only the twins face charges, will follow after. If they're convicted on the federal counts, they're going to maybe face life in prison, by the way. You had a spokesperson for the brothers, Judah Engelmeyer, who told the New York Times in an emailed statement, "The defense maintains that our clients did not drug anyone, did not rape anyone, and did not traffic anyone." In fact, during opening statements, attorneys for Oren and Tal claim that the men were just playboys, womanizers who like to party, have sex with women. They encouraged the jurors to look beyond the possible dislike for their clients, but to determine if they actually did anything criminal. That's the crux of the case. And you had famed defense attorney Tenny Garagos, who told the court, two things can be true at once. You can disapprove of their lifestyle and still find them not guilty. So what evidence does the prosecution have as they try to lock up the brothers? Well, I want to dig into that. So nearly a dozen alleged victims have taken the stand so far. Some of them are alleged victims named in the indictment. You have others that have been called to bolster the claims of those women with their own stories. And the prosecution hopes to show a pattern of manipulation and abuse, which is very important for these federal charges. Again, cameras aren't allowed. I mean, obviously, if you followed our Diddy coverage, you know that very well. But what the court did is they released exhibits like photos and text messages that the prosecution is using as evidence to make their case. So we're going to build from that. Some of those messages are from the first woman to testify against the brothers, who used the pseudonym Katie Moore. In June of 2012, Katie, who says she was a 20-year-old college student, was excited to be invited to a get-together to watch the NBA Finals at actor Zac Efron's apartment. Now, to be clear, Efron has not been accused of any sort of wrongdoing in this case, but he has been photographed with the brothers, who are very big in the New York party scene, okay? Katie claims, she alleges, that she was drugged and assaulted after that party. There are text conversations that she had, seemingly, with two different male friends that were entered into evidence. So first, I want to show you messages with Nicholas. Katie appears to write, "Ainsley went to the Gansevoort pool party and met this guy, Tal Alexander or whatever. Apparently he and his brothers are known for their big deal real estate company. Anyway, he and Ains have been talking all week. They briefly met up last night. This guy and Zac Efron are friends, and he invited Ainsley. And Ainsley needs a wings woman, clearly, but we're actually going to try to make it about work, LOL." So a few days later, Katie apparently messaged Nicholas a link to an article along with the name Alon. And Nicholas asks, "What's that?" And she says, "Did you read it? Alon was the guy from Thursday night. I found out earlier from Ainsley that he had a twin. It's him. Gross." Nicholas has a strong reaction saying, "Ugh, report him, put him away." She responds, "I just want to forget about him and his brother, and I want them to forget about me." He says, "Or you can bleep them, bleep their life, and put them away." She sends a sad face and says, "But I can't." And when he asks why not, Katie appears to write back, "Because I couldn't have my parents finding out. or anyone else for that matter. It would upset them so much. Now, I have to tell you, first of all, when you are dealing with claims from years ago, the first thing that comes out is, well, did you tell anybody that this happened? To have contemporaneous text messages seemingly or allegedly referring to this incident, that is a huge piece of evidence. Now, I want to go back to this. Nicholas responds, they'd support you. It's not your fault. Hasn't Law and Order SVU taught you anything? And she messages, LOL, silly, I know, and I normally think to do the same, but when you're actually put in that position, kinda, it changes a little. And his response to that is just a lot of exclamation points. So she asks if he'd like to come to a release party with her, and when he says no, she messages back, don't be angry. Plus, if he got off scot-free, and here it appears that the rest of that particular message is redacted. Now, it's unclear what the rest of that sentence might have said, but then the message is, what do you think would happen now that he has millions and his name is on the line? And Nicholas says, if you came out and said it now, and then there's another chunk appears to have been redacted. He then says, I have a voicemail from the night you left me that didn't make sense. And he also points out that she has Ainsley to back her up when she asks, what does the voicemail say? He replies, I don't know. It doesn't even make sense. And then in another series of messages, Nicholas texts, maybe the drug can still be in your system. You should get a drug test tomorrow. You should have gotten one the next day. She responds, I know what I should do, but I really just want to forget about it, not see or speak to him again. And Nicholas messages, wouldn't you like to see him one more time to take his life away, make him think it for years in a case? And Katie says, I'll think about it. And he again encourages her to get a drug test the following day. Nicholas then says, if you want, I can talk to Ian's mom, and she could probably definitely hook us up with a good lawyer friend to see what your chances would be with everything you have, and this would all be with no one knowing. The alleged victim says, I don't know. I will get the test done first. If anything shows up, then I will consider it. If not, then I won't. To which he responds, okay, one step at a time, but get it done tomorrow. It's already been a while. And they go on to discuss where she should go for testing before she says goodnight. It's unclear if she ever had any screening or testing done, but those messages, again, are quite compelling. So next, I want to go through messages between Katie and a man named Greg. Quote, LOL, okay, so we were there, chilling, drinking. I go up to Ains and Tal, and they offered me some Molly. Greg says, is that cover for what I think you're trying to say? So she tries again, this time changing the spelling of the word Molly, which is another name for MDMA or ecstasy. And Greg texts, damn, you rolled last night? She replies, not a lot, a tiny bit, yeah. He remarks, casual Thursday night. And she says, unfortunately. So he tells her to continue. Now, by the way, that could be problematic, right? If someone voluntarily takes a drug, goes to credibility, goes against this idea that you didn't consent, goes against this idea of you didn't know what was going on. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but it's obviously something defense attorneys will work with. So it continues. So anyway, I started to feel it a tiny bit, never felt it hugely throughout the night. We went to Provoc after. A club, he asks? She responds, and everything was fine. Yes, like the club, ha. And Katie continues, it was fun. We had tables, it was cool, like rolling with Zac Efron, ha ha ha, I guess figuratively and literally. Anyway, I'm there and I'm not that bad, and then I get to a point where I just stop remembering. The next thing I know, I'm like me again, but a few hours later, like a switch, I instantly snapped out of it, like instantly. And Greg says, that's not really how Molly works, I don't think. And she says, right, I don't know. Anyway, I'm in one of the brothers' beds, naked, and I'm trying to leave, but he wouldn't let me, like pushing me down every time I tried to get up. Greg says, WTF, did he hurt you? And she says, yeah, it was bad. Like there was a point when I was crying, telling him to stop, but he wouldn't. So how'd you leave? This is what Greg asks. She responds, he fell asleep, such an asshole, and I leave and I have no idea where the hell I am. So I was just walking near like Canal Street, methinks, and he tells her she should have called him, and she responds that she called Nick. Remember, Nick said he got a voicemail from her that made no sense. Greg asks, did you hook up with the kid? And Katie responds, yeah. I was like, I don't want to have sex with you. And he's like, you already did. He asks, do you think they slipped you something? Molly doesn't make you black out like that. He responds, I know. I don't know what could have happened. Maybe with the alcohol I reacted weirdly to it, but thing is, I just snapped out of it so suddenly, literally like a switch. Greg says, that's not normal. And she responds, so yes, that's why I'm acting weird. I feel weird. By the way, this could go to why she maybe didn't want to report this, face questions of what happened that night. Maybe she was concerned about the blame being put on her. But Greg asks if she told Nick everything, and she responds, I'm not sure what parts I told him. I was freaking out, just so confused. He knows the gist of it, though. And then when he asks if Ainsley knows, she responds, she didn't realize what was happening, but she knows now, LOL. She came over this morning because I called her. I wanted to die this morning. Anyway, keep that on the DL, please, meaning down low. And he responds, obviously. Now, in another text message, Katie says she hasn't spoken to Elliot since Thursday. It's unclear who Elliot is, but context in the messages suggests he may be the alleged victim's roommate. But Greg texts, well, she may have an idea about what happened when you went to Zac Efron's because she read our conversation, which is still dumbfounding me that she did that. Katie responds, she just read about bruises and hand marks. She continues, I'm sure she thinks something went wrong. I mean, I crawled on top of my bed at like 5:30 a.m., didn't change or anything, just in a fetal position, LOL. A few weeks later, in July, Katie texts Greg again, quote, I'm going to an event tonight at Olive's for work, and Alexander Brothers will be there. Greg says, don't go. She responds, I told them a few days ago I'd go. I'm working it. Say you don't feel well, he suggests. Katie says, we'll eat and drink and stuff, mingle with young professionals, take pictures, etc. When he says, doesn't sound that worth it, she responds, see, the thing is I don't want this to keep me from doing things that I want to do. Later in the text thread, she says, I want to face him too. Katie continues, I think I'm going to go. It's just annoying that they will be there. Greg says, are you going to say something? You don't want to even cause a scene at the event. She responds, of course not. I'll avoid him unless he comes up to me. Then I'll be cold. She also indicates that her friend Ainsley will be there with her. And it's just really chilling stuff to see in writing allegedly right after this purported attack. But I will tell you on the stand, this is according to reporting from NBC New York, Katie testified that she remembered being at the club, then woke up on a bed in an apartment that she didn't recognize. She testified, quote, the next thing I remember is coming to instantly like a switch, and I was laying naked across a bed with Alon standing over me, who was naked as well. In that moment, I had no idea what happened. I said, I don't want to have sex with you, and he said, you already did. That was incredibly overwhelming. Everything came crashing down on me. And she claims at that point that Alon laughed in her face before sexually assaulting her again. She also testified that Tal at one point entered the room but seemed, quote, super nonchalant, didn't do anything to help her. There was another woman who testified on behalf of the prosecution, Avashan Bojnud, claimed she witnessed an unidentified woman being raped by Tal and one of the twins at a home in the Hamptons back in May of 2009. She says she saw Tal, quote, dragging the woman who was, quote, not walking on her own to the pool area. She testified that she heard the woman screaming and asking people to stop as she was raped in the hot tub. The witness testified that she was terrified to intervene, but did write messages in eyeliner on the brothers' bedroom doors, with one saying rapist and another saying you need to apologize. Photos of those messages, by the way, were shown to the jury. And she admitted she didn't call 911 and said she had been warned by a mutual friend that the Alexander brothers were very powerful. Another witness, using the pseudonym Isa Brooks, testified earlier this month that she was raped by 4 men, including Tal, Alon, that this was at a Memorial Day party when she was just 16 years old. Other witnesses spoke about believing they'd been given drinks spiked with drugs and allegedly losing control of their bodies, only to be sexually assaulted by one or more of the brothers. Prosecutors also introduced some of the men's text messages into the record, which seemed to show them communicating about purchasing various types of drugs, which they would refer to as party favors. So the question now is, what route could the brothers' defense attorneys take when it's their turn to present evidence and call witnesses, right? Well, I'll tell you, we have gotten a pretty good idea from the cross-examination that they've done so far of alleged victims, questioning their recollections and accusing them of trying to extort the wealthy Alexander brothers. But some of the witnesses have pushed back on that. There was a woman named Malin Garrett, who has also filed a civil lawsuit, says she was raped by Alon in Aspen in 2017 when she was just 17 years old. Now, the defense pointed to her push for money damages as a money grab, right? Point to the civil lawsuit. But the New York Times reports that Garrett testified that her father is a billionaire, so she doesn't need the money. And she claims she sued them because, quote, they took something from me that I didn't really want to give. And now I want to take something from them that I know they don't really want to give. There was another alleged victim, Lindsay Ackery, claims Tal raped her at a home in the Hamptons. She testified that she decided to sue when she heard that one of the defense attorneys had called the accusers gold diggers and con artists. The Times reports she told the court, to do that to women who came forward with sexual assault is cruel and horrible. And she says if she does win any damages as part of her lawsuit, she hopes to set up a foundation to help victims. One of the first women to file a civil lawsuit against the Alexander brothers was Kate Whiteman, who said she met the twins at a nightclub in Manhattan in 2012. And she claimed that they forced her into a waiting SUV and took her to a mansion called Sir Ivan's Castle, where she was allegedly assaulted. But here's the thing. In an unexpected and very sad twist, Whiteman is not going to be testifying in the federal trial or any trial at all. She was found dead in Australia last year. The Guardian reports that authorities in New South Wales called the death non-suspicious. But it's just sad nonetheless thinking about this. So look, it's being reported that prosecutors are expected to wrap up their case soon, and then it's going to be up to the defense attorneys for all three men to take the reins. We will continue to update you on the biggest developments in that case and let you know what ends up happening. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also up on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.